The crystalline halls of the Galactic Combat Academy echoed with the chittering laughter of 100 species. Catherine stood in the center of the sparring arena, her weathered katana held loosely at her side, while her classmates, beings from worlds whose civilizations had conquered the stars, millennia before Earth discovered fire, pointed and jeered. A primitive blade, hissed Zixter, a Vulcarian whose species had mastered plasma weaponry before humans had evolved opposable thumbs. His scales shimmered with amusement. Does the human intend to tickle us to death? Even Colton, Catherine's assigned partner from the mining colonies of Proxima Centauri, shifted uncomfortably beside her. He carried a standard-issue photon rifle, its surface gleaming with recent fabrication. "Kate," he whispered, "maybe you should requisition something from the armory. This is our final examination. Career placement depends on this." Catherine's fingers tightened imperceptibly on the worn leather grip. The blade had been her grandmother's, and her great-grandmother's before that, passed down through 7 generations of a family that refused to forget. While humanity had rushed headlong into the stars, desperate to prove themselves worthy of their new galactic neighbors, some had chosen to remember. Instructor Kelvin descended from the observation platform, his forearms folded across his chitinous chest. The hierarchs were among the oldest species in the known galaxy, their empire spanning 10,000 worlds. He had trained warriors for 3 centuries, and his compound eyes had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. "Begin," he commanded, his voice resonating through the chamber's acoustic amplifiers. The first opponent charged. Immediately, a Grathian shock trooper, enhanced with cybernetic implants that made him faster than any organic being had a right to be. He wielded twin vibro-axes, weapons that could slice through starship hulls. The arena's shields hummed to life, containing the combat zone. Catherine moved. It wasn't the clumsy, desperate motion her classmates expected. It was something else entirely: fluid, precise, ancient. The katana sang as it left its sheath, and before the Grathian could process what he was seeing, his axes clattered to the ground in 4 separate pieces. The cuts were so clean that their molecular disruption fields simply stopped working. "Impossible," someone breathed. The Grathian stared at his ruined weapons, then at Catherine, then wisely stepped back. Colton's eyes widened. He'd known Catherine for 2 years, trained alongside her, shared rations during their deep space survival course. But he'd never seen this. Nobody had. "Next," Catherine said quietly. They came in pairs, then trios. A Sornathi martial artist whose people had perfected combat into an art form over 60,000 years. A Mekros warframe, piloted by a collective consciousness and armed with weapons that bent reality itself. A Vex illusionist who could make his opponent see nightmares made manifest. The ancient blade cut through them. All. Not killed. This was an examination, after all, and the Academy's safety fields prevented lethal force, but disarmed, defeated, dismantled with a precision that defied understanding. The katana moved through advanced alloy armor like it wasn't there. It disrupted energy shields that should have been impenetrable to physical weapons. It found the weak points in battle frames that shouldn't have had weak points. By the time Catherine finished, the arena had fallen completely silent. Even the automated combat drones that served as final opponents lay in sparking heaps, their supposedly indestructible casings bearing impossibly clean cuts. Instructor Kelvin descended once more, his footsteps the only sound in the vast chamber. He approached Catherine, who stood breathing hard but steady, the katana held in a perfect middle guard position. Not a single nick marred its edge. "Tell me, human," Kelvin said, his voice carrying to every corner of the arena, "do you know what metal composes that blade?" Catherine hesitated. "My grandmother said it was made from old iron, folded steel, forged in the traditional way." "Old iron," Kelvin repeated, and something that might have been amusement colored his tone. He turned to address the assembled students. "This child speaks truth, but she does not know the whole of it." He gestured to the katana with one of his 4 hands. That blade was forged from meteoric iron metal that fell from the sky before humanity knew the sky could be crossed. But not just any meteoric iron. He paused, letting the moment breathe. That iron came from the debris field of the Titan War. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Even Colton paled. "Impossible," Zixter whispered. "The Titan War ended 3 million years ago, before the first humans, before the first humans, before everything you know." Kelvin interrupted. "The Titans nearly ended all life in this galaxy. Every species here owes its continued existence to their defeat, and the weapons used to kill them." He looked at Catherine with something approaching reverence. "Those weapons were forged from collapsed stars and quantum foam, metals that exist in states your physics cannot explain." When the Titans fell, their world ships broke apart in Earth's star system. Some fragments reached your planet's surface. Catherine stared at the blade in her hands as if seeing it for the first time. Your ancestors, Kelvin continued, found this metal and knew it was special. They folded it, tempered it, shaped it without understanding what they possessed. They created weapons that could cut through anything because, at a molecular level, that metal remembers what it was made to destroy. He turned back to the class. You mocked her for carrying a primitive weapon, but she carries while you rely on technology that can fail, be hacked, or run out of power, she has mastered a weapon that was ancient when your civilizations were dust. Colton stepped forward, his voice filled with wonder. So humans, we've been training with Titan war weapons this whole time, for thousands of years. Some of you, Kelvin confirmed, most of your kind abandoned these arts in your rush to join us among the stars. But a few remembered, a few kept the old ways alive. His gaze fixed on Catherine, and now, when the galaxy faces new threats, we remember why those weapons were made. Catherine bowed, the gesture instinctive and ancient. When she rose, she found her classmates looking at her with new eyes, not with mockery, but with something closer to awe. Humanity, Kelvin pronounced, is full of surprises. They bring to the stars not just ambition, but echoes of wars older than memory. Today you all learned an important lesson. Never dismiss something simply because it seems primitive. Sometimes, the old ways survive because they work. As the class dispersed, Colton fell into step beside Catherine. You never told me, he said softly. I didn't know, she admitted, looking at the katana with new understanding. I just knew it worked. It more than works, Colton said, shaking his head in amazement. Kate, you're carrying a piece of galactic history. You're carrying a piece of humanity's future. Catherine smiled, sliding the blade back into its sheath, a simple, human gesture that now carried the weight of 3 million years. Maybe that's what we do best, she said. We take the old, mix it with the new, and create something the galaxy has never seen before. Above them, through the Academy's transparent dome, the stars gleamed with infinite possibility. And in Catherine's hands, an ancient blade forged to kill Titans waited patiently for whatever would come next.